a real director.
Go.
1, 2, 3, action. Episode 1 of the Which Time podcast and YouTube show. Coming to TikTok soon. My name is Christopher, and I'll be your host today. And what I'm here to do, in a fun and interesting manner, if possible, is talk a little bit quickly about why I got into watch collecting, horology, interested in perhaps working on watches, repairing watches, or doing basic type of maintenance and adjustment of the band or the movement functions, or possibly modding watches. But I got interested in watches about a year ago, kind of late in life. I think I got interested because my partner's son owned a Rolex, and I was at a family function over the holidays, and I started asking him questions about his Rolex, and from there it precipitously sucked me into a hole where I became quickly very interested in watches, reading all about mechanical watches online and what's desirable and what's expensive, what's inexpensive, what to look for when you're buying your first watch, what the different qualities and varieties of watches were. And I didn't buy a watch for quite a while. I just read, listened to different YouTube shows, and started kind of perusing online offerings of watches. And I started on occasion stopping by the mall after work and looking at some of the watches at the Macy's in the bigger city where I work. And then I got the courage to go into an actual like Swiss watch authorized dealer and try on some of the Tudor watches there at some of the authorized dealers in the area. And then I just read more and watched more and window shopped online more. And the first mechanical watch, I think I bought intentionally since getting into watches. Like before that, I owned a couple Apple Watches, which I usually broke. I owned a few inexpensive kind of fashion watches that were usually sold through surf shops, because I've been a surf shop guy my whole life, coming from California and liking to surf. So I had like a Shark, I think, a couple digital watches that were supposed to be waterproof. And that's about it for watches. I think I bought a Citizen watch that was probably quartz. I don't think it was mechanical, that I later gave to my dad, or my dad started wearing because I wasn't wearing it, and just some random things. So the first watch I bought isn't here because I lost it already, basically. And it was a Vostok Amphibia, and it was one of the most popular models. Maybe we'll put a picture of it in later. And it had a sailboat on it. So I waited till that was on sale online somewhere. I think I got it through Amazon, and I ordered it, and it came, and I was trying to adjust the bracelet, and I just made a mess of it. And I took it to Home Depot to look for a tool that would help me fix what I had messed up and do it correctly. And I left it at Home Depot, and when I went back to get it, it was gone. So then I bought what else did I buy? I think one of the very first watches I bought was this steeldive. Oh no, then I bought this G-Shock because I hadn't decided which mechanical watch I wanted. I was angling towards something kind of more entry-level Swiss automatic, more premium, like something around in the Tudor kind of price range. But I wanted something in the interim, actually, and I kind of needed something for surfing because I usually surf in the evening, and I like to know what time it is because I know what time the sun sets and what time it gets dark, and also I like to know what time it is because as it relates to tide, that affects the surf. So I saw on Teddy Balthazar's website or something, on his blog, that he'd written something about best least expensive waterproof watches or dive watches, and this was listed, this particular G-Shock by Casio, And the model is actually, I don't know the reference number off the top of my head. It should be on here somewhere. But it's just a basic $60 G-Shock, and I ordered it from Amazon, and it's great. I still wear it, and it comes in handy. I wear it like if I know I'm really going to be doing something that has a high chance of me slamming my wrist or catching something, or whenever I'm in the water. This is my go-to watch and the first watch I bought really intentionally after becoming interested in watches and neurology and that type of thing, and that's this G-Shock. And then I bought the Vostok from Russia, it has a very interesting story, that company and that particular watch. Really kind of a fascinating story. And then I bought this watch from AliExpress because I learned about them online, and the prices are very approachable. And as I started to learn about features and functions and kind of quality and what you could get, specs per dollar and that kind of thing, this watch was really pretty highly touted. I think I got it on sale during one of their never-ending but always hyped sales for like $60 or something. And it's the steeldive SD 1970 1970 as I say it, and it's been in a million YouTube videos, and it's a dive watch. It's pretty big. I think it's 44 millimeters. It's an homage or a copy without the name of a famous Seiko watch that's referred to as the Willard or the Captain Willard because it was worn by, now I'm blanking on the actor's name, Martin Sheen in Apocalypse Now, the popular film. That's the watch he wore in Apocalypse Now. And by the way, another watch from that movie just sold for big bucks. A bezel-less Rolex GMT worn by, shoot, what's the actor's name? You're not going to know, camera person, because you're not into film, but his name is, it'll come to me later. There's another famous watch from that movie that just sold for a bunch of money. I don't think they know what happened to the Captain Willard that was worn by Martin Sheen in the movie, which is a Seiko watch from the 70s, at least, is the model. I think when he was wearing it in the late 70s, and when it was produced was sometime in the 70s. I don't know if the first reference was produced then. And basically, it's like this. It's called a pillowcase or cushion case is the name for this, the design or the shape of this case, and it's rather large. It's said it's a 44 millimeter watch, at least, kind of the circumference or the diameter. And then I don't know what the actual lug, the distance from here to here is on this watch, but it wears quite well. And I was really amazed about how weighty it felt. I was really happy that the clasp had milled, or what looked like a milled scissor type of closure, even though I think this part is, at least on this version, is pressed. I was really stoked that the bezel has a unidirectional 60-minute bezel, that it made this cool noise, and that it actually lined up the bezel with the marker there at 12 o'clock, if I can get it right. I like that, and I like that it had solid end links, which is refers to the quality of this part here, this part here, and this part here, this part of the bracelet. I was really stoked that I was able to size the bracelet on this watch without destroying it like I did the Vostok Amphibia. And then I kept going. I bought some other watches, but this is like the first one I was really super stoked on because it was mechanical, even though it has a closed case back, which I guess is kind of more functional for dive watches because they can be a little thinner. The thickness is like from here to here. A little thinner and more water resistant for the thickness of the watch. And I liked how it fit, and I liked how it ticked, and I like how you have to unscrew the crown because that makes it more waterproof, apparently. You had to unscrew the crown to
Finish it
set it.
better.
Yeah, unscrew the crown, turn this counterclockwise to get it to pop off and be operational. And if you go out one spot, you can, what can you do? You can quick adjust the date. Can you? Is it moving? Am I going the right way or the wrong way? Oh yeah, you can quick adjust the date. It has a Japanese movement, or a copy of a Japanese movement from Seiko, an NH35 movement. It says it has it in there, but I've never undone it to actually check. So anyways, you can adjust the date at the first stop. You pulled out one. You pulled out two, then you can change the time. It stops the second hand from going, which some automatic movements don't. And also, what else do I like about that watch? I don't know, it's just the first mechanical watch that I bought with intention. It might be the first mechanical watch I ever bought, besides the Vostok maybe. And it just was cool, and I was impressed with the quality, and I didn't, I just still don't know that much, but I liked how it was finished. It's polished, I think, in some areas of the case. It's kind of hard to actually screw this one back in because it's so recessed behind these this crown guard, which refers to these pieces here that kind of protect the crown, so you're less likely to bust it off if you catch it on something. So that was my first love, and I gave it to my partner, and now he wears it proudly to work. And then I acquired next, I could talk about, I got this one soon after, and this is like the nicest watch I have right now as far as cost and maybe fit and finish and just my own personal aesthetics, what I like. This is the Tissot PRX, and I waited till I found one with a blue dial that was the least expensive I could find one, either from Amazon. I think I ended up getting it from Amazon, but I was also monitoring like Joma Shop and Ashland or Ashford for an inexpensive price on it. I was okay not getting the warranty because I just didn't want to pay $700 for a watch plus California sales tax. And so I opted to take my chances and buy one online when it was on sale for somewhere in the low 600s, I think. And plus tax, it came out, I think it came out around 6 something or low to mid 600s. I got a little discount on it. Maybe I should have just paid full freight and got the warranty. But I really love this watch. I was like, when I took it, I checked it. I opened the box right at my post office box, and I pulled it out, and I was like, oh man, I remember I thought they sent me the wrong watch because the dial was so dark and the lighting I was in, it looked black. And I was like, shit, I don't care. I'll just wear it anyways because I loved it from the beginning. And so this style watch is a sports watch or category, and it's considered an integrated bracelet sports watch, basically. An integrated bracelet means that the bracelet is kind of, it's designed to go with the watch, the design of the watch. Oftentimes I think they're more difficult to have replacement bracelets or straps for it. Like the fitting here is different than the fitting here for the band or strap or bracelet. Like this is probably 18 millimeters, and you can go online and buy a bunch of, or go to a store and buy 18 millimeter bracelets that'll fit on this watch. But here, if I took it apart, like basically it's got this end link especially designed to interact with this part of the case, and you either have to buy a bracelet or a strap that copies the special design and special attachment that Tissot has made, or buy one from Tissot, which they prefer, of course. But I love this watch. I wear it to work all the time, and I just wear it all the time. I love how, I think it's very pretty, but still kind of masculine. I like how the bracelet tapers. I like if it's kind of like wiped off, that I like how it glistens in the sun. It's like a pretty silvery, flashy thing. And it's just jewelry. I've never been into jewelry, but I love this watch. I love how the dial reflects light, and the pattern that's probably stamped onto the dial that looks like maybe it could be like guilloche type of hand finishing on the dial, but I know it's not. And I just like everything about it. It's kind of a 70s style. And I've had it for a while, so I guess I am trying to... I like how people or other watch pundits talk about wearing a certain watch and how they use it to like connect to special events or good days or times in their lives. So yeah, I enjoy it. It almost makes me emotional. Just to like check it out and think about it. And I'm not a super emotional guy. So I got the Tissot PRX, which I love. I kind of want that Christopher Ward, the 12, which is like a shinier version of that one. With a Swiss, that one's Swiss, yeah. And then I got, I think after that, I got a couple more watches from AliExpress, and I listen to lots of podcasts, and I watch lots of shows. And this is just one that had decent reviews, and it was a different style of watch that I wanted to try. And it's the Addiesdive, Addies dive. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the name of it or the reference number, but it's prevalent on AliExpress. I'll put it on here so I don't have to hold it and screw you up all the time. Sorry. And what I liked about it was the price. I liked that it was a different kind of design than I owned at the time. And I liked how it looked, especially online. I later found out that I don't like this color that is printed on the dial, the color of the numbers or of the indices or of the loom on the hour and minute hand. I don't like that color at all. But I kind of like the design, and I liked it because it had 200 meters of water resistance. So I was thinking it could be one that I wouldn't mind bashing around and going surfing with. And I had given this one already to my partner, and then so I wanted another mechanical I could surf with. And this is more, I think, in the style of actually an aviation like style watch, or yeah, it's more aviation than anything else. Kind of field watching maybe. And it was just something different that I wanted to try out. Before that, the first thing I was enamored by would be like the divers with the bezel. That's the first thing I thought, oh, those look good. But then I quickly started looking at bezel-less watches, or not bezel watches with bezels that don't rotate and that don't have like an index or a measurement on them. And so I got into this one, and after my mind was open to things besides dive watch, so I was looking at the aviation watches and stuff. And around that time, I got this one, and then I got this one too, which is a watch by Brew.
Okay, let's show them that.
Okay, I'll just leave them. Like that? Can you get the faces, or do you want me to prop them up a little, or have them more pointed towards you? Is that better?
That's awesome. Mm-hmm.
That better?
So what's the difference?
So the differences here are, this is a micro brand watch produced by a man whose name I'll include later. I actually got to talk to on the phone because I was kind of a complaining little dick about my watch. But he was great customer service. And it's a company out of New York. And he just makes these cool watches. I saw other online watch media kind of touting his watch, in this case design. This is also probably considered an integrated bracelet watch because the bracelet is specially designed with the watch, and it's supposed to kind of flow together or whatever that language is.
It doesn't show the right time, no?
It doesn't. It does show the right time if I was to set it. If I was to wind it or wear it and set it. And this watch is kind of small, I think, for my wrist. It's a 36, I believe, diameter watch. And it is definitely much smaller than the PRX, which wears the 40 or the 41 that it is. What I liked about it was a cool design. I like the bracelet. I like the dial. I guess it was kind of hyped a little bit, too, by the watch media. Like, it was kind of a darling of the watch media. But it was the models that I saw available were kind of fun and funky and had some colors, and they were chronographs, which is like stopwatchy. And they were also quartz watches. And I'm definitely still more interested in mechanical watches than quartz watches. And I hadn't yet caught any sort of, and I still really haven't caught or bought any chronograph watches. So I wasn't purchasing those watch, although I think I was very interested in the design of the case and the bracelet and how people had liked, other people whose opinions I think I admired or somewhat agreed with had liked the watch. His name is Jonathan Ferrer. And then I saw that this one was being released. It was limited edition. It wasn't a chronograph, which I probably preferred and maybe still prefer at the time. And it was a limited edition, and I was kind of like interested in some of these limited edition or small batch watches because I had seen some watches which I was very interested in purchasing, which weren't available very quickly. They were sold out. And so this was one that I think I learned about before they were sold out. And so I just took the risk. It wasn't terribly expensive. I mean, it wasn't inexpensive. It seemed a good value. I think it was like $550 or $500. So I ordered it. And the owner of the company is wonderful. His customer service was wonderful. Seems like a very gifted, talented, hardworking man with a wonderful design aesthetic. And it seems like he's doing really well with his company. And I love the watch, although I'd probably wear it more if it was a little bigger. But I love the design. I think right now it would probably be my dress watch, if anything else. And sometimes I just feel like wearing it, and I'll put it on and wear it to work or wear it over the weekend or whatever. So I do love the watch. And it's a limited edition, which is kind of cool, I guess. He just came out with another one similar to this. But I think it's got a black or gray, a dark treatment that's been done to the stainless steel all the way around. So like the case and the bracelet are black. But what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I like that it's a limited edition and that it's numbered, and that I got to talk to the owner, even though I wish it would have been under better circumstances, because I was kind of like, I think, being too much of a complaining, needy customer, and I didn't go about it in the right way. But it's number 249 out of 500, or is it? Is it 249? I want to know now. Sorry. I'll take a closer look. It's number 249 out of 500. So I don't know. That's kind of interesting that he only made 500 of them, and I think like if people like the watch though, I guess more people could buy it. I don't really care.
How much was the watch?
How much did it cost? It was like $500 plus tax, or $550 plus tax. And it has the same movement as is in the SD 1970, I believe. And I know for a fact this one's the real deal. Just because I trust Jonathan, and even though I haven't opened up the case back. It's an NH35, which is a Seiko movement, or one of the movements that Seiko sells to other watch brands. It has I don't know, I guess it's an open case back, or a heartbeat case back, or a hybrid open case back, closed case back, because it has a window that shows the escape wheel or the escapement, the spring, and the hairspring, which is the escapement spring. I don't have all my terminology down, and when I'm being recorded, I'm more nervous. But you can see the little heartbeat of the mechanical watch, basically, if you move the rotor out of the way. And I don't know, it's just a design that people have liked, and I like it too. I wish that he made some a little bigger. I'll have to look at his line again and see if he has made anything bigger, or maybe email him and ask him if he's planning on making anything bigger. But maybe it's just one of the design elements that is distinguishing of his line, because it seems like things were big for a while. The trend was really big, but now it's starting to come back down, and it just allows more people to wear the watch. Because if it's smaller, a big wristed person could wear it, or a medium large wristed person could wear it. And if it's larger, I think just less people can wear it. It's accessible to less people to wear. But I really like this watch. So it's a Brew, and I forget what the model number is. The model name, it's kind of a cool name. What's it say? It says Brew Universal Stainless Steel Automatic Movement Sapphire Crystal Watch. So this is the symbol for his company. It's a little coffee bean, or an espresso bean maybe. I think there's also one on the dial somewhere. Although I wouldn't be able to see it because I'm blind. Just trust me that there is. It's so cool if you see it. Coffee house culture. Now that I don't drink, I like the reference to coffee house culture too, or however he envisions it. He's like an industrial design guy. I know he's taught at a university or a college. I don't know if he still does. Design, industrial design, industrial production, stuff like that. I don't know for sure. I'm not his biographer, but obviously I've heard of him. Then what did I get?
What is that?
I only have a couple left to show you. This is one I've gotten recently that I got just before the last one. Okay. So this one I regretted after I bought it and it came. Because I thought it was going to be a little more along the lines, maybe, in the feel of a watch like the Brew. I guess I've been lucky. Or like the value of the SD 1970. Or even, I think this one probably has maybe the feel of a higher quality watch than this watch, which costs significantly more than this. This was way sub $100, probably around the same price point as the SD 1970, which I think is a way better watch than this one, or I like better. This might be leaving the collection someday, or be given to, I like to gift watches too. So this is a Timex, what's the name? The model number is like, anyways, it's a collaboration. It's a limited edition. It's by Timex. I think it's a M79 is the Timex model that it's kind of built upon. And Timex made 6 watches with a artist or a company or a group or an institution called Seconde or Seconde. It's spelled second with an E on the end, so I'm not sure how it's pronounced. And that's a gentleman's...
Why do you regret buying it?
Well, I bought it because I wanted another watch with a bezel on it, because I missed this one. So I wanted a bezel. And then
What's a bezel?
A bezel is this piece here that turns.
Okay, bezel.
Or it's this piece here that goes around the crystal, around the watch facing the crystal, that doesn't turn. This is a bezel also, I believe. And like,
And this one doesn't have a bezel.
I believe this would be the bezel here, this part between the case and the glass.
But you meant the one that turns.
But I meant the one, like a dive style bezel. So yeah, one that turns. So you can use it to time things or indicate different time zones or whatever you want, or just as a fidget spinner if you want.
Like it,
What I didn't like initially was I didn't like the fact that it felt cheaper, less high quality than basically any of the mechanical watches I bought to date before that.
Why though?
Because the bracelet, because it didn't weigh what I thought a watch of this size should weigh. And I think that's mostly because of the different kind of bracelet it has. It has this folded metal bracelet. It has this. I think it is stainless steel, probably, maybe, I don't know. But I think, and it's a lot lighter, and it looks kind of cheap, at least from my point of view. And then it was difficult for me to figure out how the clasp worked, so I was slightly annoyed that I had to learn something new. And there was no directions online, and I'm pretty mechanically disinclined, although I like to learn mechanical stuff and hobbyist stuff. So I learned how to operate the clasp. Then I had to learn how to adjust it, which is actually quite easy once you learn. But when you just you're in a hurry and you want to wear your new watch or something, it was a pain. Actually, if I had a screwdriver, I'd show you, but I don't want to mess up my good screwdrivers. You just stick a screwdriver in there, and this moves up and down the bracelet, and that's how you adjust the length.
Some other time you can...
Some other time, yeah. And I didn't like that I was looking, I noticed here that it didn't seem to be metal between the top of the bezel and the body, the case of the watch, the mid case or whatever it's called. And it looked like a piece of black plastic, which I think it is. And I thought that looked kind of cheap. And I wish they would have just even put something that just looked like steel, I guess, or like metal, even if they're not going to use metal. It does have an open case back, which I think is nice for people like me at times that are new to the hobby and like to see some of the mechanics of the watch without having to actually take the watch apart, or to show other people that might be interested in mechanical watches or haven't been exposed to mechanical watches before. Show them how maybe it kind of, and talk a little bit about the basics of how it works. And it's kind of fascinating to me, at least, to see like just the tiny parts and the scale of it, and that it's moving, and that it doesn't have a battery, and that it's, you know, basically the same technology that's been being used for hundreds of years. But so I didn't like the bracelet. I didn't like the plastic spacer or mechanism on the bezel. I didn't like the price of it. It seemed a little expensive. I didn't like the fact that it has a mineral crystal instead of a sapphire crystal, because the mineral crystal scratches easier, and basically enthusiasts tend to like a sapphire crystal. There are benefits of a certain look of a mineral crystal. It can look, I don't know, there are some benefits to it, but nothing that I was aware of or appreciative of. It was a little smaller on me than I expected. I do like the Penguin. I do like the fun it pokes at other bigger watch brand, the big watch brand, the big more expensive watch brand, the monolith, the huge institution of Rolex, and that it's, you know, it's kind of cute, and I like it for winter, and I like going ice skating with it and being kind of thematically on. It's grown on me, the usefulness of the bracelet, and maybe even the looks of it a little bit. It probably is a little small, maybe, for my wrist, or just smaller than I'm used to. I like it more and more, actually. It's grown on me, basically, is what I'm here to say. It's a Timex. It's based on an M79 platform. I think if you buy the watch that's not a limited edition collaboration, it's probably a $200 watch at retail. Maybe you get them for $150 or $120 or something. But I paid full on $300 for that watch. So I think I was kind of mad at myself too that I got sucked into like the limited edition, the sales pitch, the marketing, and maybe that's one I probably shouldn't have spent my money on. But I am beginning to enjoy. I've already scratched the crystal, which annoys me. But I do kind of like the design of the watch. It's got some similar characteristics that I like about the Brew and the Tissot PRX. It's basically an integrated bracelet watch, because I don't know why, but because I read that somewhere, that it's similar. It has similar characteristics. It's blocky and angular, like some of these 70s throwback integrated bracelet watches are.
Watch over there? This is the one that you're holding now.
This is the Tissot PRX.
Oh yeah.
This is a huge success. Sold a lot of them. They came out, I don't know, 3 years ago or something. They just came out, and they come out. You can get this around $650, $700 if it's not on sale. For the mechanical version, you can get they're a really good deal is the quartz version of this, according to the people that know more about watches than me, because you get the same bracelet, the same case for around $300 or less, and there's also lots of different sizes and lots of different dials. The dial is the part of the watch behind the hands that you mount, like the numbers and the indices.
What is that
up.
watch over there? I see.
Which one? Oh, that's my last.
Yeah.
Oh, this is my latest acquisition.
Okay, what's about it?
Okay, so this is a watch from a company in Portugal, I believe. And the name of the company is, heck if I know, Borealis. And it's the Estoril 300. Basically, it's a dive watch that's supposedly rated to 300 meters, about 1,000 feet. So I was happy to get another dive watch. But the reason I bought this was because I was very interested in acquiring a GMT watch.
What's a GMT?
A GMT watch is a watch that tracks more than one time zone. That was, I think, kind of famously developed or came out around the 1950s when kind of intercontinental jet travel became a thing that was kind of affordable, or that became open to the general public. And flight crews and captains and yeah, so basically it was made for flight crews, so you could have it indicate what the time is at home and what the time is where you're at.
What do you like about this one?
What I love about this is that its price and what I got for the price overall. And I do like the aesthetics of it too. And so far it's been great to wear and the way it functions. I like a lot about this watch.
So what do you like?
I like that the most what I like is that
Why do you think that it's good for the price? That's what my question is.
Okay, because I wanted to acquire a GMT watch that was a true GMT or a flyer GMT, or it's also just basically a GMT that you can move the hour hand by 1 hour increments without stopping the minute hand or the second hand or the GMT hand. Some GMT mechanical or automatic watches, you can independently adjust the 24-hour second time zone hand, or you can independently adjust they call it the local hour hand, or the traditional hour hand. And to be able to adjust the traditional hour hand and not stop the movement and have the 24-hour hand tied to, I guess, the rest of the movement. I don't have all my terminology down. Basically, to get this functionality in a mechanical watch, it costs several $1,000s for a very long time or more. It was the realm of luxury Swiss watches. And then it was kind of made available to more budgets and made in a less expensive platform by the Miyota company or Citizen, which owns Miyota, or vice versa, developing and releasing a movement, and a movement is like the guts, the engine of the watch, a movement called the 9075, I think, to other watch brands and other watchmakers, and it's much more affordable and available. Basically, no one had done that before and sold it to other companies and sold it at a price that made it affordable to the consumer. Until maybe a year ago, that happened. And so different companies and micro brands and brands.
But that's not a Citizen, no. So what?
No, it's not. This is a micro brand. This is a small company that makes watches in smaller numbers that you've never heard of. The name of the company, I forget the gentleman who owns its name, but the name of the company is Borealis. Like Aurora Borealis, but just Borealis. This is called the Estoril, Estoril, which I believe is probably a place in Portugal. And the Estoril 300 GMT. Nice. Yeah, so it has the date. It has a 24-hour bezel. It has the Citizen or Miyota 9075 movement. The case size is 41 or 42, which I like for a case size. It has a bidirectional bezel, and that's different than most dive watches, which have a unidirectional bezel with like a 60-minute track on it traditionally. This one has a 24-hour bezel that on this watch you use to indicate, or most often use to indicate or to tell what time it is in your second time zone. So right now I have it set to my local time, which is Pacific West Coast time, which is like about 9:09. And so the traditional hour minute hand is set to 9:09. And then also the, sorry that I keep moving it, the 24-hour GMT hand is set to 9:09 too. But you just count it differently because, or it's in a different position because it's moving around the dial on a 24-hour basis. This hour hand goes around the dial twice every 24 hours, once every 12 hours. This hand goes around the dial once every 24 hours. So it's indicating 21 as the hour, which in like 24-hour time or military time would be what? 12 plus, that would be 9 p.m. if we're just doing AM, PM time. And so, I don't know. I don't travel all that much out of my time zone. But I was just interested in the complication. And I like the idea of having something at a price point I can afford. And this was the most affordable price point. And I like the watch. And it's pretty much met my expectations. I like the bracelet. It has screw links instead of push pins or pin and collar, which are typically found on more premium watches. So I like being able to adjust the bracelet length with the screw links. I like the mermaid that's engraved on the back. I like the engraving. I like that if it's rated to 300 meters, if it has better water resistance than other watches, I like that because I surf and I know that I could possibly get saltwater ingress into my watches. I like to be able to wear them in saltwater, either swimming, snorkeling, or surfing, or sailing, things I like to do, or boating, or fishing. And I kind of like the colors, even though they were limited at the time that I bought it. And I don't know. I don't mind that it has a date. Some people don't like the date on their watch dials. The color I wanted only had the date left. I think the lume's halfway decent. And lume is, if you're in the dark and your watch has been exposed to light prior to being in the dark, it kind of lights up. It's like fluorescent.
So if you were to wrap up, what's your goals and interests now? What's your next step?
Well, I've started acquiring a few tools, some very inexpensive, some more expensive, like screwdrivers. These are Swiss screwdrivers, because I do aspire to be able to work on watches or learn how to work on watches, or learn how to fix watches, learn how to restore watches, learn how to maintain watches, learn how to service watches, and kind of be self-sufficient when it comes to some of the watchmaking skills associated with owning and enjoying mechanical watches. Maybe modding watches. So the most I've done now is I also have a pocket watch, but I'm not going to pull it out. But I've really quite fond of. That's one of my newer acquisitions too. Other than that, this is most of the watches. I bought a Swatch mechanical watch that I've given to my son, who lives up in Portland, Oregon, that he enjoys wearing to work. That I was pretty fond of. It was the Borealis, which is basically a stainless steel watch. It doesn't have a dive bezel. It's a pretty big, robust, sports-looking watch with a blue dial, it has the cool System 51 mechanical movement, or the interesting, at least, mechanical movement. It's an inexpensive watch, and he wears it, I think, to work every day. He's an attorney, so it can't be that bad.
What's the most interesting topics that you want to share with your viewers for the next video? So, of course there are a lot, but let's say if you were to choose one.
I think I'd like to just get to the point where I could talk more about the technical details of some watches, share the watches I own, and maybe share myself learning how to do some of those procedures, those watchmaking procedures I'm interested in. Talking about maybe some of the tools or equipment that I've acquired or want to acquire in order to more involve myself in the hobby. I'm interested in getting a piece of furniture to actually do the work on, like a watchmaker's bench or some version of that. And I've been working on that. I could share about that. I could share about watches I'm interested in acquiring and why. I could share probably about if people are interested in, or if I think it's a good idea, I could share more basic videos of the different elements of mechanical watches or watch collecting or the hobby as I understand it today. I don't know. I guess I have to think more about that. Okay. But I'm most interested in the hobby and just getting more into working on watches.
Do you want to say something for the holidays, some wishes?
Yeah. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy whatever spirituality or non-spirituality or religion or non-religion you are. I hope everyone is healthy and safe and has some joy in their life and can spread some joy and help others.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.